Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out to the very first episode of the Twisted Cast. My name is Nick. You can find me on the YouTube channel Vicarious Nick Gaming. And let's move on to the next guy.
And I'm DrewDessadoo. You can find me on YouTube at DrewDessadoo.
I'm KongDoo. I'm here with the boys on the first episode.
I'm Winners989, joining all the Twisted Boys for our first ever podcast about Twisted Metal. Glad you're all here. Goodrich?
And then that would probably be
Dave,
me.
you forgot.
Where's our boy?
Where's
I'm GoodrichGames. I've just started making Twisted Metal content. I'm also was the lead designer on Twisted Metal Small Brawl, Twisted Metal Black Online, the Vigilante 8 series, and some other auto combat games.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And in this first
Other words
episode, we are
coverage.
going to be going over our reviews with spoilers. So if you guys have not seen the Twisted Metal TV show, what are you doing? Just go watch it, please. It's so good. Or we're gonna go over our spoiler, not spoiler free, but spoiler filled ideas and just our feelings over the whole entire show. And Winter is here. He actually just literally got done watching it before the
Yes, I
podcast
did.
started, and he is gonna be kind of the person taking over episode by episode of his thoughts because he's become way more prepared for this than we have. So, Winners, if you want to take it away and start out with your thoughts on episode 1 of the
Oh, hell
Twisted
yeah.
Metal TV show, and then we'll kind of just all go through our own thoughts.
Yeah, so what I like about the first episode is that it really sets up the universe that the viewer's gonna embark upon, because like Twisted Metal, like, we always think of it like a tournament, fight to the death kind of thing, but the show takes it to a different direction where you have milkmen who deliver packages, and our boy John Doe is you have like that cool intro sequence where he's like battling these guys in a mall and whatnot, and I thought that, like, it was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool, and and you can just tell from like those first a few minutes that the tone of the show, it's fun, it's a little lighthearted, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna enjoy this because it doesn't seem like it wants to be too edgy, but it likes to throw in jokes here and there, and it's supposed to be fun and lighthearted. So I really appreciated that. So yeah, John Doe, he drives that orange Subaru called Evelyn, and he's taking packages and delivering them for Raven in New San Fran, which the world fell apart 20 years ago. And you have New San Fran, New Chicago, pretty much new everything. I've kind of noticed that's the trend for for a lot of the cities in the show. Fuck New San Diego, by the way. And one thing we learned about John is that he's a family of 4, and I put in the note that where's his family, and then we kind of find out that he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember who his family is. He doesn't know where he came from. It's pretty much a blur, and really, he finishes a package for Raven, and he gets an offer from her, basically kind of giving him a sweet deal of saying, hey, if you get this delivery package from New Chicago and bring it back, you'll have the life you always wanted. And I kind of put in there that Roadkill, or we don't call him Roadkill yet, but John Doe, he's looking for a life of peace because he doesn't really know much else after being a milkman for so many years.
Right.
Yeah, I thought the way they set up the universe in the first episode was really awesome. And it introduced us a lot of characters. You had Outlaw, Agent Stone, which I think he was freaking awesome this whole series.
Mhm.
Quiet, which I put as Shadow. John Doe, obviously John Doe, and yeah, and Raven's not who she doesn't, she's not who she says she is in terms of her intentions in that first episode.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Spoilers alerts.
You already
Bro.
get it.
Hold up.
Oh, I was supposed to watch this? No, I'm kidding. No, I watched it with you guys.
I'm watching it right now through just listening to you guys. That's how I'm watching it.
10 days, John, is pretty much.
Yeah, I like how they set it up that way. So it's like one episode is a day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like per day, and then that's the whole delivery sequence, which is nice that it's set up that way. And it's also nice that Raven lies to John as well and just hoodwinks him, like lying to him, pretending that like he's gonna get this awesome life, and he's like not actually gonna get that life.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
It's wonderful.
The first episode for me, I think, looking back at it, and especially I was thankfully able to watch the entire series a second run through. And on my second time through, I enjoyed the first episode more than my first time viewing it. And I think the reason for that was like, I don't know, it threw so many jokes at you so quickly, like these little weird quips, that for me it was a little bit off-putting. It almost felt like forced in a way. I don't know if that's the right wording, but it might have been the delivery from Mackie as well. It just didn't fit right at first. And then it was more as the show went on, like each episode, I kind of enjoyed his performance more and more, and the jokes kind of felt more natural. They didn't feel forced. And same with like, again, I knew it was going to be a dark comedy going into it, but I didn't know it was going to be like boom, joke, boom, joke, boom, joke. I thought there was going to be some action sequences and some serious moments. And they do obviously have that throughout this whole show. But it is by far like 99% of comedy. Like it's joke after joke. So if you're not a comedy person, it might not really fit to your style as much as if you're more of an action head or something like that, which I think a lot of people going into the show kind of expected that more than to be more of a comedy. But I was still pleasantly surprised by the end, just because I think the jokes, for me at least, they landed at least 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I
I can't
agree
really think of any
with the
sequels.
comedy being great. But one thing I would want to say for being a dark comedy was that the darkness, like the drama stuff and the comedy were separated entirely. I felt like the jokes were either really silly and great, and then the dark humor was like haunting sort of stuff. They didn't really mix the darkness with the humor as well as I thought they could have, the way that, say, Twisted Metal 2 had. It's like they had the darkness of Black, but with the sort of lighthearted, like they had a joke about a guy dying because ants like ate him through his butthole or something. It's just absolutely absurd. It's a great joke, and then they made a callback to it later on.
Yeah.
And so I love the humor. I just kind of wish a little bit like the humor could have not been so separated from the universe. It felt very distant from, like, they had this very serious, well thought out world, but then they just kind of like dropped like a bunch of sprinkles of goofy bullshit on top. I just wish it kind of mixed a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that.
I can see that. I was surprised with how much violence they stuck in there. Decapitations and heads being blown up. I was just like, all right, well, we actually have an adult version going on here, despite the funniness of a lot of the jokes that they were doing.
Yeah. What did you think, Kong?
Of the first episode?
Yeah, and I guess just overall.
I mean, I think it started off kind of slow. It's like I was expecting it to be a little more like, I'm trying to find a right way to word it,
like a better hook.
Yeah, at the beginning, because it's like it's much better as your second time around.
Yeah,
I know they're trying to establish the character, obviously. Like, of course, like they want to build the world out. So I was like, when I first watched it, I was like, I don't know how to feel, because I enjoyed the part where obviously we don't know he's getting like lied to by Raven yet, and they're establishing all this stuff, and then you're seeing the life of Quiet and John Doe at the same time, kind of like stuff that's going on with both of them. And I feel like they should have just like stuck with just one character and then introduce Quiet into the next episode.
Yeah.
Instead of having both of them in the same episode.
And I think that can kind of, because I think the overall theme you're going for is like it felt rushed in a little bit, especially, you're trying to get these characters to flesh out and have character arcs throughout the series. But the fact that it's only 10 episodes and they're 30-minute episodes in a world where literally every show nowadays is like an hour minimum, it just, per episode, I should say, it just seems like, I think a lot of it had to be rushed in a way. And for what they did, I think they did a good job with it for what they had. And a lot of that could have been budget restraints too. But I think I agree with you though that the first episode felt rushed in a lot of ways, like kind of just throwing these characters at us and kind of just making you feel like you have to enjoy this person even if you don't know who they are yet. And that's why, yeah, second time through, it's fine. I enjoy the first episode, but first time viewing, I'm just kind of like, all right, well, let's get to the next episode and maybe it'll get better. And it does.
Yeah, like the first episode, it does a good job kind of building the world that we're about to step into.
Mhm.
But as you go through the series and you kind of look back, like episode one kind of feels like the weakest in terms of like pure enjoyment and action. It's just like you're watching Twisted Metal and you're like, I just want to see shit blow up. I want some cool shots, cool stuff, and everything. And in the first episode, at least what was running in my mind, I'm like, I'm hoping the show will be good. I hope it gets good. I hope it gets better.
Mhm.
And like every episode, I'm like, yeah, they're fucking nailing it. Like it felt like every episode I was just liking the show more and more and more, and until where I'm kind of skipping, but we got to the end. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, like this is they done for a video game adaptation, turning into a series. They did a really good job, and I just finished, so I'm like, I'm still like feeling it right now, but I'm like, fuck, this is like pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel you. And I agree 100%. And I guess moving on into episode 2.
Yeah. So episode two, so it kind of leaves off where Quiet and John, after Quiet joins John since her brother died, because of Outlaw, they get to, I guess, to Vegas. I almost call it New Vegas. Sorry, Fallout. But they get to Vegas and they meet our boy Sweet Tooth, who is, um I think he kind of comes off as a goofball, but he is extremely unpredictable, and that part I felt like they got it really well
Yeah.
for
Makes him
for this.
horrifying.
Yeah, it's because it's like you almost think of him as a gullible oaf,
Mhm.
but this guy will snap your fucking neck and not feel bad about it or feel jaded at all. There's a lot of references on this one where John and Quiet get stuck into that casino, right? And fucking Sweet Tooth with his silly ass performance, putting on his Twisted Metal 3 outfit, the Twisted Metal 3 suit, fucking big ass blue bow tie. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure Jackie loved that one, and he's just dancing around like it looked like one of those like he was performing one of those training videos of like when you work at a place for like the first time, like a workplace training video. But like I love the references. You see, he's from Blackfield Asylum with the Marcus Kane. I think it was a blanket or a jacket. I can't remember. And he loves Skittles and fuck seagulls. Let's see here. Harold. We meet our boy Harold as well. Harold the paper bag, which is Sweet Tooth's friend. Let's see here.
And I love how Harold is set up in a different kind of scene every time.
Yeah.
Like one time there's a drink
Always
in front of
wonderful.
him. Other time
He
there's a
little
gun
drink. He
in
drank
front
his
of him.
drink.
Harold, the way they treated Harold reminds me of fucking Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Yeah, literally.
It seems like it took inspiration from that in some way.
Yeah.
That's basically what the character is, just like a non-sentient being, but they're giving it life.
Yep.
Yeah,
Similar.
like yeah, and and Sweet Tooth, I feel like he has a bit of a backstory that I think they did well as well with everything else, is that he has parental issues. And my favorite joke from him is this is the Q&A where I ask the Q's or kick your A. And so like Quiet and John are like, oh, what the fuck do we say? I thought the tension there was like really good because you can just tell like Sweet Tooth is gonna kill him if they fuck up, in
Yeah.
which Sweet Tooth appreciates honesty. So and also I also like this quote as well. I'll make you shut up and bleed. He made that reference
Mm-hmm.
to Twisted Metal Black.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Um,
like in the dialogue references that some of them are kind of stretches. It's kind of like, was that a reference or was that just added in the dialogue? But
Yeah.
there was definitely some straight up like quips that are notorious from Twisted Metal Black or 2 or whatever that I think a lot of people caught on to pretty quick.
Yeah, so I liked episode 2. I liked how it kind of fleshes out who Sweet Tooth is,
Hmm.
because I mean he's the most iconic character of Twisted Metal, and I think for the most part they did him right. So
Yeah.
I like with Sweet Tooth how they treated him not as like truly evil or good. Like he's not motivated by like by like human terms. He's like a force of nature. He kind of just like goes throughout the world like imparting his will.
He's
He always
basically
feels
like a
unstoppable, yeah.
more evil Deadpool.
Yeah,
that-
well,
he's just
I don't
an
think he's
anti-hero.
like trying to like be evil. I
Mhm.
think he just is. He just is Sweet Tooth. He's his own morality system.
Yeah.
It's just a great writing for like a psychopathic character. Because in the
Right.
games,
Oh, yeah.
he's just a one-dimensional. Like, I don't care. Like with the games, he's a boring ass character. Like
Yeah.
he is. He's a
He
boring
is.
character. He's literally just a
Yeah.
one-dimensional character with no.
Sweet.
I think if
substance
I
at
were to
all.
rank the Twisted Metal Black stories, you know, from worst to best, I would probably put Sweet Tooth as the worst because he's not even a character. There's no growth or change. It's just
Yeah.
I'm a serial killer clown whose head's on fire.
Kill.
I don't want my head to be on fire. Okay, maybe I do because I want to keep killing. Like there's no
Kill.
growth, there's no development there. There's no arc. It's just I am this.
So
yeah.
so wait, Drew,
Yeah.
are you saying right now that ATV in Head On is a better character than Sweet Tooth?
Ooh.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think yeah, because at least
Rolling
ATV
out
was
of that
interesting
today.
and fun. I would watch that ending 10 times in a row before I watched Sweet Tooth's
That's
once.
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So in the show, you're basically saying Sweet Tooth isn't evil; just his actions are evil.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because we're human observers watching it, but I think from his perspective, there is no morality.
Mhm.
There's no he just is.
Yeah.
I do like how everybody knows who he is, and they're afraid to go into that land. Like he has done a lot of stuff up to this point
Mhm.
that the entire universe knows about.
Well, and we find out that what he's done up to that point is just like hole up in a casino, like showing out like the TV you have in like your hotel room, like whatever it defaults to when you're not watching television, like that standard video. He's just like he's reciting that for an audience of whoever he captures. That's what he's doing. That's what everyone's afraid of.
Right.
I love it. Also, the Skittles that he loves. It took me the second time around to notice, but like they're not Skittles. It's just a handful of loose pills that God knows.
Oh
where he's
shit, were
going.
they?
You didn't notice that?
No, I didn't. Oh
That's-
fuck, I didn't notice.
They're all
Like,
psych
it's just
meds.
a
That's
neat little-
hilarious.
They didn't draw
Yeah.
too much attention to it, but I like that. It just kind of shows off, hey, that this guy just is insane. He has no bearing on reality whatsoever.
Right.
Taste the rainbow, see the rainbow.
Yeah, I liked episode 2. I think I've heard a lot of mixed reactions of it. I've heard people straight up just bash it because they wanted a Twisted Metal Black-esque Sweet Tooth. They just wanted that one-dimensional serial killer that was scary. But I would highly disagree with them. You know, I like this more in-depth character that isn't straight up horrible, evil, insane, yes. But there is times where you're like, okay, I maybe could have a beer with this guy. But then all of a sudden he snaps and kills somebody or does something where you're like, never mind, stay away from me. And I think I like that. You know, I like that dynamic. I liked getting a little bit ahead of myself. We'll talk about it more in a minute. But in one of the episodes, we get more of a backstory to his life and how he became the way he is. And even though they turned it into kind of a joke at the end of it, it made sense. And I'm glad they included that instead of just saying, hey, this is a crazy clown who's from Las Vegas. He took over the area because he's crazy and he takes pills. Woo. Oh, also he kills people. Because they could have easily lazily done it and it would not have worked. But I think they did a great job. And also, Joe, I always forget his last name, the wrestler that did the Samoa Joe.
Yeah, Joe
That
Smo,
actually did the body work of Sweet Tooth, like the physical acting of Sweet Tooth. I think just knocked it out of the park. I think he did
Yes.
an amazing job. Phenomenal job. He looked amazing. Costume designing, did an amazing job with him. You know, I was not at all disappointed in his look. I think I have heard some reviews of people saying they didn't like how he looked, and I'm just like, what how else would he have looked? Did you want him to look like Twisted Metal 4 Sweet Tooth? Because I mean, this is what
head wasn't on fire.
yeah, because well, until till the end. And I'm
Until
glad
the
they
end.
did it that way. I'm glad they did it that way because it was more of an exciting moment. Like it's just worth it, watching up to this moment to get that.
Yeah, it felt like the climax of the series. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I definitely applauded for them to do that. And then also Will Arnett, I think, did a really good job. Even though Will Arnett, he's a great voice actor, but he can't really do too many different voices. So there was times where certain things he said sounded like BoJack Horseman, and it kind of threw me off.
Same. I'm like, BoJack, is that you?
But otherwise, I liked it. I think it was a cool dynamic, and it was interesting seeing that they dubbed over him, but Samoa Joe did such an amazing job that it didn't seem like it was dubbed over.
Especially through his eyes. I thought he expressed a lot just through his eyes.
Yes.
Which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they avoided kind of all reference to magic or supernatural in the series so far, which might explain why they didn't have his head on fire at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole origin of that. Plus, I'm sure it would have blown their entire special effects budget at the same time.
Yeah, they definitely saved all their special effects for the last episode. That is for sure.
Yes.
It still felt cartoony. Like it wasn't like realistic, but it was cartoony, but it wasn't supernatural. It wasn't like you didn't see Calypso as like this, demon guy with magical powers and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe
he didn't
later,
get cursed by the preacher,
right.
None of that stuff happened, which is fine. There was a little part of me that kind of wished that happened, but I think they did it their own way, and I think it paid off.
What, the preacher killing the people in the church and all that?
Oh no! In the show, like the way they portrayed Sweet Tooth and with the fire at the very last episode, I think they did it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I guess moving on to episode 3.
Yeah, so episode 3, The Nth Law, kind of goes back to 2002, where you kind of see from Outlaw's perspective how everything kind of went to shit, and you really see a Agent Stone that is not so tough. He's kind of more of a piece of shit, like typical mall cop asshole who. Yeah, like a fucking. It's like, oh, I'm gonna write you a ticket. I'm the law. It's like, fuck you, dude. And I like it because it's just like he's like drinking in his fucking house, and even his neighbors don't like him. So that kind of already tells you a little bit about his character. Let's see here, Mike and Stu. Gotta love Mike and Stu. They're surviving, trying to do their best. I think they're still security guards for Outlaw after they got their asses saved.
Yep.
Which Outlaw recruited them for them to join his cause. Stone, instead of building a wall, he wants to build a dam. So he's like, I'm gonna build a dam. And I'm like, not to get political, but like I thought of those Trump rallies, like I'm gonna build a wall. I'm like, what the fuck? So I don't know. I just found that kind of.
It could have been a play off that, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I think it was.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, you bring up the point that at the beginning, like he was just a mall cop and everybody hated him. But man, did his character arc turn him into such a badass in his later life here. I was very impressed with what he did.
Yeah,
so I do feel like he built that whole empire based on like his own insecurity, like his own like broken sense of justice, and like how he, because of his past, with that incident at the shopping mall, the restaurant, whatever it was, with the terrorists, quote unquote, inside. Yep. And I feel like from that moment, he's like, okay, the law is the only way I can justify what I did. So I'm gonna like make my whole personality the law, and then it just extends out into this awful thing.
Yeah, like, and I think what I did appreciate is that Outlaw, he has his own posse, so to speak, and I like how I think they did it a little bit better compared to like Twisted 2012, where you have like their gangs and stuff like that doesn't really feel well explained. But like you hear in the show, it's like Outlaw, he saves people and recruits them for his cause, and that's how he has I don't know what he called like his group of people other than the law, but like I thought it was pretty cool that they actually made that to be believable on how that was kind of approached. Let's see here. And we kind of learn a little bit more how John is suffering heavily from amnesia. With him and Quiet getting tortured all hell, and just I like how they're getting waterboarded and they're making jokes, and because Stu's trying to be intimidating. Yeah, Stu's trying to be intimidating, and they're not coming off as intimidating. I think there was like a line that Stu said that he fucked up on, and John's like Like, if you actually said that right, that would have been badass, but you fucked up. And Stu's like, is like, shut up. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Like those kind of jokes, I'm like, that's pretty fucking funny because, like, I don't know, any normal person would fuck up trying to be a badass,
Yeah.
I thought throughout the episode that the soundtrack was good. Uh, was it Agent Shepard died with one hand on his dick because Quiet killed him, and she was like, "You're gonna be that guy that everybody's gonna talk about who died with one hand in his dick," and just beats the shit out of his fucking face. Uh, and then I like how people start talking about it in later scenes. You're like, you hear about Agent Shepard beating himself off in Agent Stone's fucking room? Like, what? Really? He's like, yeah, it was some anime porn. I was like, oh, that's the best. Like, yeah.
Even though
But,
he's getting beaten to death, his hand never left position. And that's
Yeah.
how they found it.
and so from that scene we learned that the HQ, like Outlaws HQ, is in Topeka, Kansas. And Stu, I put in my notes, Stu plus Trunk equals not a good time. Because what was it? He was pushing Evelyn, and then I guess something happened where the trunk opened and knocked him out, and he felt he was left behind.
Yeah.
And John's like, "Oh, hey, that was fucking awesome, Stu. Stu, he's not here. Oh shit. Sorry, Stu." We just keep driving.
I like throughout, like, because he says Jello stew, so I really
Oh,
I thought it
yeah.
was kind of cute and charming how John, every time like he was saying bye to someone, he would say Jello because he just misunderstood. Like with
Yeah.
the people in San Francisco, it's so small, but like that's just the neat little touches that I really enjoy. Jello stew,
Yeah.
as he's unconscious on the floor.
Okay, I also felt like so bad that when they got out of the dam and Stu got hit in the face and knocked out, they didn't go back for him.
You know, they were out of there. You know, they were
Yeah.
done with that
Kind of
place.
couldn't really go back for him.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They all get caught at that time.
I do
Yeah,
feel
I
like
guess
if they
that's
could have
true.
gone back, they still wouldn't.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, because they were supposed to walk the red line where they just basically have to walk to their death, jumping off the dam.
Hmm.
And Stu had a change of heart, and obviously like they can't go back and save him. There's nothing they can do. So I mean, they're just lucky to be alive.
It all worked out. I mean, Stu got a new best friend in Sweet Tooth.
He sure
What a friend
did.
to
The S Brothers.
You're a big guy. I'm a big guy.
Now we're friends.
Now we're
Yeah.
friends.
Sweet Tooth, like every scene Sweet Tooth was in, he just crushed it.
He
He
did.
did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like every scene that Sweet Tooth is in, like I'm immediately captivated.
Mhm.
Like I'm just like I'm just anticipating like for him to do something weird or out of the blue, because again, like he's just so fucking unpredictable. And it's just like whenever I saw Sweet Tooth on the screen, I knew it was like I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah. I think for me, like the three standouts throughout the show for like screen time stealing was Stu, Sweet Tooth, and Agent Stone.
Yeah,
Agent
yeah.
Stone was fantastic. Thomas Hayden Church, who played Agent Stone, I thought could not have done a better job.
Yeah.
Just demands
100%.
attention everywhere he goes.
Mm-hmm. He's got that presence, like that voice that just like
Right.
It's
he plays a
believable.
villain. Yeah, very
Mhm.
believable, scary villain.
And like he looks iconic. Like he has the nice pressed blue suit with the shades
Hmm.
and that scowl. Like he just, man, it was perfect. Like, whoever did the casting and the costumes and stuff did a wonderful job.
Yeah, 100%.
There wasn't a single character
Sure.
that I thought was like, oh, I don't like that decision. Like I thought they did really well with that.
Yep. All right, so moving on to episode 4. Honestly, this one I don't, off the top of my head, remember the main plot of this one.
Show me
This
your
is
This was
Or-
the
or-
rolling caravan one. This one's
Yeah, this
the
is where
group
the
of truckers.
character who, before we know it's Twister, they get kidnapped inside the trucks.
Oh,
The
that's
convoy.
right. Okay, yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
This was the flower power one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, they get was it John Doe and Quiet? They get captured by the convoy, which was what they're called. We find out that Watts. I can't remember if they established her first name, if it was Amanda Watts.
They did.
But I know
Yeah.
they did. Okay, so yeah, because I just wrote just Watts. So Watts, I think I think Watts was really well done. Like it's different than what we got before, where it's like I just want to save my sister. No, it's like I think the actor did really well. Like she's kind of freaky,
Mhm.
but like she comes across like she's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoy like watching her act. And because we learned that Watts and Flower Power they had a thing, and ultimately they get back together by the end of this episode. But I thought the semi truck convoy was just fucking cool. What was it? The book that the granny had, like Granny's like trying to be like
Granny Sutra.
Yeah, it was. I like yeah, and you see like Granny Sutra, and Quiet's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I thought Granny was really cool. But really all that happened in this episode is John and Quiet, they're just getting um the flowers or the medicine, or we're led to believe medicine from Flower Power, who um kind of fucks around with them a little bit because she thinks that they are the preacher's men, the holy men, which thankfully they got out of that sticky situation. And so, they get the medicine and they find out that it's not really medicine, it's just to help Granny to kind of pass on a little bit more peacefully without pain.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's see here. John and Quiet, they do more bonding, especially in the movie theater after getting chased by the holy men. Um, let's see. Granny, what her name is? Was it Kathy Stropton? I don't know who if that references any character in Twisted Metal. It's not
I
that
think it
I
was
know
just
of.
Granny Dread from TM3.
Yeah.
Was it Granny Dread?
Yeah, because
Yeah, her name is
Oh.
Watts said that at the
Oh,
end.
You're right. You're
Mhm.
right. Yeah,
But I feel
I
like
missed that.
during like she was giving the speech to everyone as part of like the funeral. I think she did say, before the fall, her name was blank, but
Yep.
now
Yeah.
we know her as Granny Dread.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that went way over my head. So yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
But like I thought this episode was pretty good, especially towards the end where it's like, all right, bye, Granny. It's nice knowing you. And John's like, well, at least you get to die peacefully. And you're like, and fucking was it Twister whips out the fucking remote, the BMW falls out, and then it just fucking explodes.
No,
And
it wasn't clear to me. I'm probably just a dummy, but was Granny dead before the car exploded, or was the car exploding her dying?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was definitely
She
dead
died
because
Yeah.
because when the
That'd be
scene
an awful way to go.
started, like when
Yeah.
the scene started, she was
I
it
don't
was
know. That
zooming
might be
in
a quick
and
way to go.
yeah.
That's
it
the
was
way
it was like
go.
yeah, it was like one of those feel good moments. You're like, oh, that's so. Oh, what the fuck,
It
dude?
just explodes.
That was a
Yeah.
good joke. See, like that's the kind of humor that I just like. It kills me.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys noticed. I mean, I hate to poke holes in like the show's special effects or whatever, but like when the car falls out of the back of the truck,
Mhm.
like you can clearly tell it's like it's like a dummy in
Yeah.
the driver's seat. Like it looks so
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too, but I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like, it wasn't too
No,
egregious.
I'll overlook it. Like the
Yeah.
idea is what it is. Like the story is not going to change because there's a real human being
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that car. I just thought it was funny.
They should have just went with like the cheesiness of the humor and just put a crash test dummy in place of her. So it's
Oh
like
my
fucking
gosh.
obvious.
That would have been good. That would have been funny.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I just really liked you had like that Twister reveal where you see Twister with the blueprint with her F1 car, and then she just
Yeah.
like takes it out, and she has like that purple jumpsuit, and I'm like, fuck yeah, like
Yeah.
Twister's about to go ham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Then
was
same
kinda
with
hoping-
like. Oh, sorry. You go, Drew.
Sorry. Yeah, I was kind of hoping when we finally get the reveal of Twister that they would go all out and make it turn into a tornado.
Yeah.
Oh
We're kind of
yeah,
getting ahead of
Yeah.
ourselves, but like I was hoping that would be like the climax of her arc, is her turning into a fucking tornado and like turning her body into hamburger meat because of like G-forces and stuff. But no,
oh,
Yeah.
they
no,
had to for it.
no.
I don't know how they would have pulled that off in the universe they set up, unless it was just like a tornado just comes out of nowhere and sucks up her
A
car.
Watkins storm, like
A Watkins
abducts her.
tornado. And somehow she could control it with her car
Yeah.
for like one scene.
And then she dies doing it, just like TM2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice deep cut for the homies, for the real fans.
That would have been a huge deep cut. Yeah, your Joan special kills you. Like oh sorry, dude. What?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say we glossed over the last episode. The small brawl hammerhead appearance.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, of
that was
course.
so
It was-
cool.
That was a big thing for for a few moments. I was so excited. I was just like, "That's my Hammerhead design." And the paint
I
job
love
and
that they went out and
everything.
did it.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that other car is. Can't figure out what that other car is.
Yeah. I'm
Wait,
not
what
sure.
scene was that?
At
Uh,
the
One is back in
beginning
2001
of-
with
yeah.
Agent Stone.
I need to see if I can find it.
There's a couple
This
of
is-
kids in front of the Radio Shack playing with RC cars, one of which is Hammerhead from Small
Yeah.
Brawl.
Yeah, it's identical down to the hammerhead shark on the door of the
Oh,
car.
that's amazing.
Oh, was that the throwback scenes to Agent Stone?
Yes.
Yeah, in the past.
Yep.
Oh, what the fuck?
And maybe the other car that we can't identify, maybe it's part of Small Brawl 2 that's in development right now.
Yeah, you never
I'm
know.
completely
Yeah,
unaware
Small
of.
Brawl. future.
Yeah, it was
Let's see if I
pretty.
can
It's
find a
pretty
part of
quick
it.
scene, easy to miss.
Yeah.
It was in the
Yeah.
trailer as well. I think that's where we first saw it.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah,
would have
it was-
noticed it if Nick and Kong didn't actually got a screenshot and put it in the Discord. I was just like, "What? No way!"
Shout out to our Discord for being just on top of everything about this show. Like making memes out the gate, pointing out stuff that I don't think I ever would have noticed. So yeah, shout out to them. Good community effort.
Hell
See
yeah.
if I can find this. Curious of who the other car is now.
If you can find it, Kong, post it in our chat and I'll put it on the stream here. But yeah, like the references, like just I guess quickly speaking about that, because we could go a whole podcast on that with how many Easter eggs and stuff were thrown in the show. And I think they did an amazing job with the fan service in the sense of not confusing people who aren't fans. So like anybody could watch the show and enjoy it, even if you've never played or heard of the games. But if you have played the games and you can remember certain things, elements from them, or you're a diehard fan like we are, I mean, there were so many quips and little Easter eggs and like things in the background that you could easily miss on a first time watch. That is just really cool to see. Like, you know, they had the whole Twist Metal Black reference with the teddy bear with Agent Stone's background, which I thought was really interesting that they brought that back.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they obviously had the Small Brawl reference. They had another Small Brawl reference at the end that Dave didn't even pick up right away.
I did not.
With like how the entire mission was just to get ice cream for Raven, and then immediately I'm like, you did all this for a little ice cream, like from the ending of Small Brawl with
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth. I was like, that's literally there's no way that's a coincidence. That had to have been a joke.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. I'm just glad they they paid homage to the fans as well as they wanted to include everybody to have fun with it.
I'm surprised just how, because Twisted Metal as a world and story is like complete nonsense chaos.
Mhm.
So for them to build out their own world but mix in every, because just Twisted Metal as a series with no consistent tone. Like there's some games that are children playing with RC cars. It's Saturday morning cartoon goofiness. There's Twisted Metal Black, which is this pitch dark world that's supposed to horrify and intrigue you. But they're able to mix all those things together into one cohesive package, and I thought that was super duper impressive.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Yeah, I just went back to that episode with the cars, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
fuck,
put
yeah,
I put
you're
it
right.
in. It's blurry, unfortunately, but
Yeah,
the
it's
car was moving. the whole
super
time.
easy,
But this-
easy to miss.
The hammerhead's visible.
Yeah, I wonder if
It's
it's
just
like
the other
Warthog
car, right?
or I wonder
It's
if
like
that's Warthog.
brown,
It's like a
looks
brown
Warthog.
thing.
brown,
Yeah.
tan, and green. Kinda
It
a
does look
Warthog.
like
for an
a
audio
grasshopper.
podcast, this is probably awful describing a picture.
Yeah, I
We'll
can't really
put it in the
see. I can
Discord.
try to zoom in
Go
on
look at
it.
it there.
Super zoom. There you go. So you guys maybe can see it. You got like the decals of the yellow trim, and you got the little shark on the side, like he does in the game. Does he have the rail cage on the back? I can't remember in Small Brawl.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Okay, so it is pretty much a shot for shot recreation, which is pretty cool.
It's where's my royalty check, Peacock?
Yeah,
You're using my
seriously.
designs
What
without
the
my
hell?
permission. those design
Yeah, it's like
creds I
brown.
signed away to Sony.
Yeah.
What is that?
Speaking of references to the creators, I know Jaffe said he was supposed to make an actual cameo appearance in the show.
Oh.
Due to some problems with COVID, or he wasn't feeling well that week. He wasn't able to make it for the final shoot.
That
So
sucks.
they said they were going to put something in the background, like a bar would be named after him or something. I didn't
They
catch
named it
that, the
Kelly's
reference.
instead.
Yeah, that could have been what Kelly's was. But did you guys notice any Jaffe references whatsoever? Because I don't think I could.
No.
I-
Single one.
I didn't see
I
any.
I didn't pick up any.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we were all
Interesting.
joking that the guy with the beard wearing the gas mask
Yeah,
as
that was
his
Jaffe.
underwear was
That was
Jaffe. It was a
Jaffe,
Jaffe
yeah.
reference.
Maybe that
Oh.
was meant to be him. Maybe that's where he would have been.
I would have been so angry.
I mean,
So
if you think of it, metaphorically, like John Doe is twisted metal, and there's Jaffe like coming up to its unconscious body, trying to milk as much out of it as he can.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
episode 5. Since we're going there,
On episode 5 anyway.
I'll use that as a transition. So down goes Zippy, yippee. The old guy with the tramp stamp about to raw dog John Doe like no tomorrow. Jeez, that
Like,
scene
who
was.
that guy? Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think we have an
I
answer
have
who that was.
I have no
don't
idea,
know
but
what
I
was
just
supposed
found
to
it
be.
so funny that he put a fucking like
Gas mask on his dong.
gas. Yeah, like he's wearing a gas mask. That's a
Yeah.
a pair of underwear.
diaper.
Some people suggested that maybe that was Junkyard Dog, but I don't know.
What?
where that would
No.
come from. I don't think that would be
That
it.
doesn't make any
That's the
sense.
only-
Yeah.
That's the only answer I've gotten of who that was.
The
I've also
closest-
That was
I
kind
also
of a
heard Garbage
corny
Man.
scene, though.
Oh,
I
Trash
think,
Man.
'cause
Trash Man, yes.
Possibly, but I don't know. I feel like it was just unnecessary to have that in the show. Like, I don't get the point of it.
Yeah, it was a little
And look-
much.
Like they could have just skipped that entire scene and nothing would change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I
just
just
meant
don't
for the
understand.
comedy like shock value, but it
Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of those old like American Pie type theme comedies where most of the jokes were okay, and then they would always have like one or two in there that were just like, why was this put in the movie? Like,
Whoa,
this
what
is
the
so
fuck?
out
Yeah.
there.
I almost
Yeah.
Looking
kind
at
of
it
wished.
right now.
I almost believe like that was going to be Jaffe's cameo, and then Jaffe read the script and go, it basically said,
I'm not feeling good, fam.
with COVID, I'm afraid to go down there now. And he's just like, fuck that, I'm not going to do this. This is bullshit.
I can't come
That's
to work
fair.
today.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah. I was cringing the whole time of that scene when he made that down goes zippy yippee, the way he said it. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Just god damn it. But in that episode, we get introduced to Jamie and Carl Roberts, working under Outlaw, basically tasking to get quiet. I can't remember if it was to kill him or capture him. Yeah, and we cut to Sweet Tooth kicking ass. I believe this is where he goes to the dam where Quiet and John Doe escaped from, and he just puts a fucking grenade in a guy's mouth, doesn't give a shit, and just drives off. And he's like,
Yeah, that
"Hey,
was
careful
cool.
with that."
Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah, like let's put a pin in that. Like that was nice. I was like, that's solid landing. And yeah, Sweet Tooth just rip and tear, man. Like just put some fucking doom music on. Like he was just straight up being complete savage. And we could see that Stu kind of saved Mike from Sweet Tooth, where Sweet Tooth is like, "Hey, who's over there?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing." And they just walk away. And was it Sweet Tooth only like Skittles? Because Stu was like, "Oh, I found
Mike and
Mike and Ike's," and Sweet Tooth was like, "Nah, I'm good."
The amount of
Whoever
time
paid
that
for
Stu
that.
saved Mike was insane.
They also had a high C shirt.
Yeah, them saving each other, especially like Mike and Stu are they're half and half. You're not getting one without the other. So let's see here.
I felt like Mike in general just was not a good friend. Like very looking
No,
out for
he was-
himself.
he was
while
a
Stu
piece
the
of
whole
shit,
time was
honestly.
just I
Yeah,
don't know why Stu would forgive him in any way.
Well, it's because Mike's kind of saved Stu from Outlaw, from Agent Stone, when they were in that sniper scene and they were kind of being put under the test, and Mike
Yeah.
shot for Stu because Stu was kind of choking a little bit. And so it's like it could, does Stu seem more of like the guy to kind of watch Mike's back? Yeah, I could see that, but I think they both are watching each other's back, whether they want to admit it or not, when it comes down to actually making a decision. Because I will also add that when Stu got caught in the dam, Mike didn't shoot him; he just captured him. Now, whether or not that would have killed, that he's killing him anyways because he has to walk the red line, that could be argued. You can argue that. But yeah, Mike and Stu, they're homies for life. It seems like.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, yeah, they're like peanut butter and jelly. Can't have one without the
I feel like they are good friends, and that Mike and Stu are good friends to each other. They just don't realize each other's limits that they're willing to go to.
Yeah.
He's just
Right.
confused, like, why don't you shoot this yard trash that's stealing from this truck? He doesn't realize his friend has a deeper conscience, and I think they need to fully explore that friendship. But I think in the end, the fact that they're still saving each other and hanging out with each other at the end of the series kind of proves that they were best buds.
Yeah.
I was secretly hoping for a scene for them to just jump in a fucking monster truck and just go crazy.
Me too.
I was highly anticipating it because just seeing two bros just don't give a shit. I'm really hoping like in the next season,
Yeah.
once we get to that topic that they have the hammerhead finally.
Yeah, for sure.
But my favorite scene was when Sweet Tooth kind of recruits Stu, and they're like, "Oh, my name starts with S, and your name starts with S. We're both big. I'm big. You're big." And so like you see Stu, he's like hopping aboard Sweet Tooth's truck, and Sweet Tooth's like, "Oh, hey, Harold's got shotgun."
Yeah,
And
you're
Stu's
right,
like,
bitch.
"What the yeah, you're right, bitch." And Stu's like, "What the fuck?" And like you just see the paper bag, like Harold just a seatbelt strapped on.
That was one of my favorite lines.
That was so good.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about the episode, though, I guess it's not even just this episode, but it's Carl and Jamie, right? That's the two. That's Outlaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt they were the weakest, like, actors in the show, as well as like just I didn't like the portrayal of their characters. I kind of wish there was more to them, I suppose.
I agree.
Yeah, they
They
felt
were supposed to be
shoehorned in just to
fodder, though.
like say, oh, yeah, they're fodder. Yeah,
Mhm.
they didn't really have
Yeah.
a point. There's no character.
Right.
Yeah, that was going to be my point too. Is they didn't have the first 3 episodes to really introduce them. They were just jammed in there. It's like, oh, it's Outlaw.
Yeah. And it's like, it's cool if they do a reference. I think that's fine. But they try to make them like legit characters. Like, oh, now since the other guy got murdered with his dick on it, or his hand on his dick, then now the next, like, you know, people that Stone go to as his right hand man is these two brother and sister. And they really didn't, at least in my opinion, it didn't really make them like a force to be reckoned with or like anything substantial.
I feel like they had a bigger plan for them because we saw, I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves, but later on in the series, they got into a car accident off camera where it like injured their necks or whatever. They're wearing the neck braces.
Yeah.
And that didn't really get paid off at any point. We just saw them in neck braces later on. So I felt like maybe there was more stuff going on with them that we just never got to see.
Could have been cut for time restraints or like they wanted to. They should have added it in episode 6. So, at least in my opinion, but I don't know. But speaking of episode 6, I guess is a good transition. The ball pit episode, right?
Yeah, so kind of small backtrack. So like in episode 5, Quiet goes down and take down Agent Stone, and that doesn't work out. And so you know, John saves Quiet, and they both escape. And episode 6 pretty much leads to John and Quiet getting into that fast food place. The Astronaut Burgers, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
And so like you kind of go in and you see like this body covered in aluminum foil, and we kind of learn in that building that there was like a kind of like a cult mass suicide where they're killing themselves to go to space or to be, I don't know,
Great Beyond.
The Great Beyond. Yeah, I got Drew.
Fucking
I got such Fallout New Vegas vibes from the Riptide.
The Brotherhood of the ghouls or whatever. I got that vibe from them.
Yeah, so it's and the poor body, like to kind of add a little to it, the walking storm came by, and John's like, we need to get the fuck out of here. We need to go inside. And so John and Quiet are stuck because a walking storm was created because I guess a nuclear reactor in Watkins Harbor just blew up, and you have these walking storms that get worse the more east you go. I thought that was a cool reference.
Yeah.
But we kind of learn a lot more of Quiet, and I think this episode was done really well with building these characters, especially with Quiet, because you kind of learn that her and her brother, they were pretty much slaves, and eventually Quiet's like, hey, if we do these indentured servitude contracts, then we can finally be free. and come to find out that they will not be free, and they've been mistreated because these people that they're serving under, they cut body parts and use them as jewelry, which is extremely fucked up. Which makes Quiet understandably quiet because she was an indentured servant, and she was quiet because she didn't want to lose another finger. She didn't want to be abused or harmed or tortured,
Right.
which is really really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And so like eventually her and her brother, I can't remember the name, they escape out of there after her brother lost her ear. Which it was definitely kind of like, oh, that kind of fucking sucks that they kind of went through that. um Also, a lot of fucking in the ball pit.
Twice.
Twice. Yeah, you ever fucked in the ball pit twice? They're like, no, and then just cuts stamp scene. I'm like, what the- I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm happy. Like, I'm not near my kids, because I was like, oh, I could watch this with my kids, and I watched this one at night because they finally fell asleep. I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching this with my kids.
They broke out the Granny Sutra for that one.
Yeah, they broke out the cage.
Yeah,
Like, goddamn.
definitely not
Adrian,
kid friendly.
yeah. I can't remember why I wrote this. Poor Zach, big teeth. I can't remember. Oh no,
He's
poor
the
Zach.
guy outside. He got struck by
Yeah,
lightning.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's I put so what was it? Quiet was with a guy named Adrian, and I just wrote down Adrian sucks, big teeth version fuckboy. I don't know why I wrote that down. I don't know why I wrote that down.
We
I was
talking
like-
about the same show?
Yeah,
Wait,
no,
what?
no,
I
because
don't know what that even
Quiet
is.
That's-
Quiet.
She broke
Yeah,
up with Adrian because of his big teeth.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we never
yeah.
met
forgot
Adrian.
that.
It's just in.
yeah. We never see
Conversation.
Adrian, but it was like one of Quiet's boyfriends of her life previously. And they kind of got in this small little topic about it when John and her were like kind of reminiscing of their past and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that one was pretty funny.
No, I
But-
do want to say that I like the relationship between John and Quiet, but I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like they use the trope of like they fall asleep at the same time, but then one of them wakes up while the other one is out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. It felt like they kind of overused that. Like in the movie theater, it happened where they both fell asleep in the movie chairs, and then Quiet wakes up, and John's,
Gone.
it's supposed to like fake you out. Like, oh my god, did they leave each other? Did this person abandon the other?
Yeah.
And then of course they never do.
Right. The
Yeah.
movie
I just
theater,
didn't like how
and
that
then
kept happening over and over again. It lost its power, after the second
Yeah.
time.
I was also
Mm.
curious about like the astro theme of the restaurant and all the basically the diagrams they drew over the walls and everything. It seemed to have some kind of alien reference. I wonder if they're going to do like a moon buggy reference in there.
Maybe
But
Area
nothing
ever-
18.
nothing materialized
I
out of
Hangar
that.
didn't know
18 from TM3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hangar 18 too.
But nothing
Yeah.
ever came of it. It was just there. It confused
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
hell out of me.
it was. I think it was a good opportunity, like to put like a moon buggy, like car, like a toy car, like oh like you have a kids meal, like get like those toy cars, like moon buggies.
Or it could have said
that would've
like
been
if you
great.
ascend to
Yeah.
Hangar 18 or something. That would have been kind
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not
which
sure.
It was send Hangar 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I almost felt like they're going to open the
reference.
tinfoil on that body and see like an alien in there, and we'd be like, "What?
What?
What the hell's going on here?" But instead, like you don't even see.
Is
what
that
happens. It's just like,
Jeffy?
Yeah. Is that-
that was Jeffy's cameo. It was just
That's the
wrapped in
cameo.
tinfoil.
If they named it Jaffe instead of Zachary, that would have been fantastic.
They should have.
That would have been an
Jello
amazing
Jeffy.
reference.
Maybe that's what it would have been. Him and the guy in the tinfoil that got electrocuted 300 times. Like that would have been his
Yeah.
cameo. Then he gets called a fucking dork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I think my favorite scene in this one on this episode was John started finally breaking through with Quiet, and Quiet's obviously just big sad with her brother dying, and John's like, you have to let go, and she's like, I can't. Like that was a really like sad scene where Quiet is disturbed by her past, and John is just trying to comfort her and help her as best as he can. And I really did enjoy that, because I really felt like that's a scene where, obviously Quiet's going through trouble, and John does deeply care about her, and they're finally both kind of trusting each other more. I thought that was a really well acted scene.
Yeah.
I was pretty not entertained, but I thought that it was really well done, really well executed.
It was a great moment, and I thought that it was a little heavy-handed, but I liked the way that they dispensed like that moment where it wasn't them having a direct conversation as they were, she's trying to make food and the propane tank was out or something, so she tries to move the new propane tank herself, and that sort of was a metaphor for what she was going through. Is I can't do this thing on my own. I'm trying to accomplish this thing and grow from drama, but I need help to do it, and that she found John. John can help her. It was very heavy-handed that he got to help her let go, move that propane tank.
Yeah,
but it was nice. It was a nice moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that episode has some charm. It has a reason to be there. I've heard critiques from people saying like you can just skip episode 6 altogether.
Filler episode, yeah.
Filler episode, and it's like
no,
there is filler in it. I will agree. Like there is sections inside the restaurant where I felt like they could have maybe showed something else. Like I said before, they could have maybe cut back to Agent Stone a little bit during that episode, or maybe the outlaw character. But instead, I will say I did really like seeing Quiet's like backstory. I liked all the flashback scenes. I thought those were really well done. Seeing where she came from and the abuse she went through, it makes a lot of sense to why she is the way she is. And then of course, she lost her brother and all that. But I don't know. I just felt that there was something missing, and I can't put a finger on it. It just felt like something was missing the entire time. And then on my second watch through, my wife made a good observation that she feels, and I agree, that they really pushed John and Quiet to just be together when it kind of like I didn't feel the chemistry there. I felt in the sense of like maybe them being friends and like they care about each other, but jumping right to like, oh, they're sleeping together now and they're more than friends, it seemed a little bit too pushy. It kind of came out of nowhere, like left field for me.
It's definitely fast.
Yeah. It did. I can see that.
And I mean, I'm probably one of those people who felt like this was a filler episode. And probably a lot of it had to do with like, we've seen a lot of scenes, a lot of characters, a lot of locations, and it was just all this one restaurant with these two characters for the majority of it. And it felt a little stale just being in that one setting continuously.
I agree.
And I will say, just on a side note, the man was struck by lightning that's meant to damage cars, and he just crawls through and puts medication on his back, and he's good. I'm just like, come on, man.
They should have done a reference with the thing he used on his back, as like it should have looked like one of the health pickups in like TM2 or something.
That would have been genius, actually. He just does a backflip off the table, like, I am 100% now.
I'm good.
It's episodes like these that makes me appreciate that every episode is like around 30 minutes. I can't imagine going through that for like a whole hour.
Yeah, no. That would
So I do appreciate that they chose that kind of like that 30-minute per episode, because it doesn't feel like any episode kind of outstays its welcome.
Yeah.
Where because I don't know, I watch a lot of TV. I know like for shows like you're gonna have your lows, you're gonna have your highs, but in this show that I do appreciate is that the lows don't linger that long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely
agree. But anybody else want to say anything about episode 6?
I feel like it was
shirt.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Was that like I don't know if that was like a brand deal or something they had, like a sponsor. Like I just don't get the High C shirt.
Is High C still around?
90s porn. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, if they're gonna show it, they have sponsorship in some way.
Oh wow.
They won't do that for free.
Well, of course not. They can't.
But I want that shirt though.
Yeah, High C shirts are gonna go off the charts.
Buy High C stock right now.
Yeah, buy High C stock immediately.
High C was the bomb back in the 70s and 80s.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wish he wore a Kool-Aid shirt, and then he just like burst through the wall at the end of that scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can move on to episode 7, Nut House.
Yeah, Nut House.
My favorite episode, I think, other than like the last episode.
Nut.
Oh yeah, I like this episode. I'm trying to remember. Okay, so we see that Marcus Kane, he was a child actor. or Marcus Kane, Sweet Tooth, and we kind of learned that in that intro in the episode where he makes the comment that, oh, you're not my real dad, and I guess I can't remember his name, but the Sweet Tooth's dad-in-law or stepdad, whatever, he kind of says, well, your dad worked, you would have been sleeping in that taxi, and your dad would have went to jail, which kind of references to
great reference to Charlie Kane.
Yeah,
Charlie Kane. Yeah, that was a good reference that I appreciated. And we kind of see a little bit that Marcus is already kind of going through some trauma in his head because he's put under this immense pressure to be a prominent child star, and we see that we see Harold before he was Harold, and we see the Skittles that Charlie was eating, or sorry, Marcus, and he's like, tell that to my Sweet Tooth, and the joke just fails to land.
Which is funny, like that would be the reason he would go by that name later in life. If that's the line that didn't work.
Yeah, it's him failing to live up to his parents' standards that pushed him over the edge, and he killed the dog Billy.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah, I think that was sewing needles, which I thought was a great. So you learn he's named Sweet Tooth because of that failed line, but also that he's Needles Kane because of the
needles,
the needles that he used.
Yeah, which like I can't remember later in the episode when Stu and Sweet Tooth are back in Blackfield Asylum, you see the reference of Needles Kane where the newspapers the public actually called him Needles.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, like that's how we got the name, was because kind of the public labeled him that way.
Yep.
And I didn't notice it right away, but in the background of like while they're filming that show, out the window in the background, you can see the ice cream truck there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I noticed
that was pretty
too.
Cool.
So I think
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, the killing the dog. I don't know if they went this deep a cut on it, but I believe that might have been a reference to Twisted Metal 1, where they had the ability to run over dogs and people. And during the focus test, people complained so much about running over the dogs that they pulled that from the video game.
That's right.
And
that would be interesting.
When I was making Small Brawl, Jaffe told me that. He's like, you can't run over dogs. People are okay, but not dogs. And I was like, noted.
It would definitely make sense because it's just, out of all the things that triggers fucking Marcus as a goddamn dog, because the crowd just like, it's so stupid. Like the crowd like sees a dog, like, oh my. They just start clapping.
I feel like to his paw, they lose their fucking mind.
Yeah, it's like, what the shit?
I feel like what they could have done though, like, so if it was a direct reference to what Dave was saying, that it was, they in the focus testing, people didn't like killing the dogs, they took it out. If it was a direct reference, what they could have done is had it where it's a trickery, where like you see the dog come out, the audience laughs, looks at Marcus, he gets upset, he grabs the needles, he runs to the dog, right? And you see everyone's reactions to him killing, and you see the blood hit him in the face. And then it cuts back, and he accidentally actually killed a random person. He didn't kill a dog. Because then it would have been like a direct reference to like, we're not gonna kill a dog. Like we wouldn't do that.
Right.
Take that, Jaffe.
Or just after he killed the dog, where like he looks at the camera with that smile, like that iconic Sweet Tooth smile, with like even with one eye like sort of.
Yeah,
covered up.
That was a good detail.
I thought that was really nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Line. But probably the best scene ever that Nick made a short on that I just fucking love is like, they get to Blackfield Asylum and Sweet Tooth's like, Harold, you're in charge.
The gun.
It's like a Harold with a goddamn gun. and then they get back and you see like all of like Sweet Tooth's posse just completely dead. And she's like, Harold, why did you kill all of them?
I know. I love that
joke in the whole series by far.
That was
there's a gun right next to Harold too, which is hilarious.
And I believe the show. I'm like, okay, Harold, he's on to something.
He's actually on something. They should have had like some smoke coming out of the barrel of the gun.
Oh my god!
Oh, like that would have been fucking perfect. But like
they kind of hinted that Harold is like sentient in some way when he's in the casino with Sweet Tooth, where he has the drink, and then by the end of the show, his drink is gone.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it's actually being
someone else drank it.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been funny like the gun is smoking and you just like the bullets are ejected from the gun, just all laying there like used bullets, and it's like Harold just sitting there.
Yep.
Shell
just
casings
chilling.
all around him.
But I will, but let's also get into this part that I do like is the going into the nut house.
Yes.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure.
Nut house.
I'm pretty sure this was Kong's favorite fucking part of the whole series. Is we see Pizza Boy,
Yeah.
Drag Queen,
Yes,
yo,
my
fucking
boy.
Pizza Boy, yo, he stood out like a fucking sore thumb. Like everybody, like it's hot
It's
as
a
dick.
jacket.
It's the fucking red jacket, yellow hair, glasses, like that. Like it was so obvious. Like Pizza Boy right there, and like the fight scene. That's like John's trying to punch him. It's like what the fuck's in this jacket? Like I can't hit. Like you can't even hurt. Fucking his jacket is. I'm like, I just found it so funny. And especially and like Drag Queen was like, just disgusting as all hell.
I think Pit Viper made an appearance in that scene as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
Pit
cool
Viper.
OG like callback.
And did
I
not
like they
die
brought
either.
Pit Viper back.
Yep,
Yeah,
they brought her
Pit-
back to kill her off, just like the series did.
No, she
The
didn't
one
die. I
episode.
don't think
She didn't die. She
No.
didn't die.
Wait,
No,
she lived? I missed that.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
last,
There's
the
another
last-
scene after.
Yep.
the last scene we see of Pit Viper is her kind of using a walkie-talkie to outlaw, saying they're heading over this
Oh, that's
direction.
right. That's right. I
And-
do
and
remember
that's
that.
it. Yeah,
Which does kind of track with her TM1 appearance, where she's not who she says she is. She's actually like a double agent.
right.
She's working for the people of Los Angeles or whatever. So I like that they kind of reflected that there, where she's not just a milkman. She's actually an informant for Agent Stone.
Right.
yeah.
I wish.
Um,
I also want to say that I don't think Pizza Boy is dead because we never saw a body.
I believe that too.
I mean, he got rocked.
He got
though.
fucked up, but he's Pizza Boy. I don't think. I don't think he's dead.
He went from Pizza Boy to 12-pack.
Yeah, no head left.
And I feel like we've gone too long without talking about Mr. Slam. Who,
Oh yeah,
I think that was on
Yeah.
purpose.
I was so happy. I was like Mr. Slam, and I put a exclamation mark, and then they started talking about his dick, and I'm like, okay, giant dong alert.
Giant
Yeah.
dong alert.
Why did he call me
like
Mr.
that they didn't back down though. That they showed it. They showed like him in action.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like Mr. Slam with a fucking horse dick, just crushing watermelons. It's so funny 'cause, like Bloody Mary backstabs John, and so everybody's ganging up on John, and they're like, and he's like, Bloody Mary, you told all of them, you couldn't wait a fucking minute, and it's like, he wants to see Slam just annihilate
Destroy that
the
melon.
fucking-
I
I'm
like
like-
that Mr. Slam, with all the chaos going on, he still does it. He's like, "This is my establishment. This is my
Yeah.
show. I'm not going to stop it for you
Oh
guys."
no, he did
He's
it
like-
as a distraction to save John.
I think so.
Yeah, that's why they thanked him at the end. They're like, "Hey, great dick moves," and it's just like because he literally, because you could see him eyeing the room, like, I
Mhm.
need to give these guys an opportunity to actually start a fight.
Right.
I think he
Yeah.
just wanted to smash that watermelon.
That too.
He had noble intentions with his dog.
At least he was a nice guy. He helped give Quiet a shower, and he had some funny quips, and like you said,
Yeah.
Dave, like he helped him get out of there and live.
You
So
know why they call me Mr. Slam? Why? Because of my giant dick. It's fucking quiet. It's like, what the fuck? That threw me off.
yeah.
I will say I was not a fan of what they did with Mr. Slam. It
was tasteless. Yeah.
it was
So
tasteless.
outrageous.
It just
I
goes
like
back.
addicted.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it just comes back to what I said about that dude with the gas mask on his dick. It's a joke that just becomes tasteless and just over the top to the point where you're like, this is awkward now. I'm not
Yeah,
really
it's
just
dick
humor.
laughing. Yeah.
Dick jokes.
Yeah.
Ah,
They
I said
leaned into
the
a little
penis.
bit too hard. No pun intended. But like, if you're gonna do a dick joke, at least make it funny. Like, I would have preferred if it's just like, they call me Mr. Slam because I got a giant dog, and he just like would stop and go, no, actually, it's because I got this giant construction piece of equipment in the backyard. You want to go see it?
Right.
something
they should-
along those
yeah, they
lines.
definitely could have done that. Yeah.
Yeah, that or he just is good at destroying shit. I don't know. They could have done a way better
Yeah.
job. Like, I don't.
It also
don't know.
kind of terminates his character arc a bit. I don't think we're gonna see him again in like the Mr. Slam vehicle.
Unless
I
his
think,
first like coming into season 2, his first line is like, "I got penis reduction surgery so I can be in the tournament."
I drive this piece of construction equipment.
Yeah, I don't think I don't remember seeing any of his pictures or anything like that. When yeah, here when what's her face Raven was saying like all the different characters and whatnot. I don't want to get there yet because we're not in episode 10 yet.
Mhm.
But I put rest in peace Pizza Boy. That's a goddamn lie.
That's a lie.
And apparently definitely not rest in peace Bloody Mary.
No, she's definitely alive.
Which doesn't make sense. She got stabbed in the fucking heart with an axe.
Yeah,
I feel like
I don't get that.
The show goes off of cartoon rules, which is just that no one really dies.
Or maybe Calypso can bring them back to life.
Yeah,
Right.
well, not like maybe not resurrected, but just like it would take writing. Like you'd have to write it into the story that they're dead. Like no amount of like violence or danger is gonna actually kill anybody.
Yeah,
Right.
Pizza Boy's alive. I'm telling you.
And they seem to be kind of making the characters more of a concept. Like there's how many outlaw references now in there? Like
Yes.
main outlaw died, but then you see these two that are in the police car, and then they die, and then now another one comes in, or you see this Pizza Boy supposedly die, and then you see another nod to Pizza Boy later on in the series. I don't want to spoil it, but they seem to the character seems to float between different actors at any given time.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was kind of back to Agent Shepard. I wish he was driving like the red Ferrari, or Carl and Jamie actually driving like an actual police car, and a couple like the typical police car and a couple of.
They drove Shadow for the most part, didn't they? Jamie and
Yeah,
Carl
they did.
Roberts.
Yeah,
which was kind of a weird decision, right? Because Shadow got blown up anyway, so why would that hearse make an appearance again?
Yeah, I have no idea. I thought it was like kind of off-putting.
So I like that Agent Stone got to drive like the SUV Outlaw from Black in 2012. That made sense. That's who he was in Black. But for Jamie and Carl Roberts, you think they would have their like the Ford Crown Victoria like police cruiser?
Yeah,
that would have made more sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's just weird to put them in Shadow.
I do feel like we're going to see the Black Shadow from Black that Raven will be driving at some point.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be cool.
Or just Mortimer. I want to see, we didn't see Mortimer from TM2, who I think is the definitive driver of Shadow.
Yeah.
I think when you think of Shadow, you think of Mortimer. So I want to see him in season 2 for sure.
Yeah. I want to just see more supernatural shit.
Yes.
Like
I saw Raven with the voodoo dolls. And that's like as far as we got with supernatural.
Like even if they bring, I don't know, ghosts into it and stuff, like I wouldn't mind that because that's been in the games. Like that wouldn't throw me off too much. But as long as it's not like
the gas can dong guy, gas mask dong guy, we can probably have a ghost.
Yeah.
For every one gas mask dong, we can have 2 ghosts. That's my rule.
If the series is a hit and they want to bring it back and they can get a good budget, they'll probably start to pepper that in. But generally that kind of stuff is very effects heavy.
Right.
Yes,
exactly.
yeah.
And it's like that's what I was gonna say. It's like I'm fine with supernatural elements as long as it's not just CGI fest, and especially shitty CGI fest, because then it's just like, oh, I can't even pay attention. It's taking me out of it.
But I feel like if they went with bad CGI, they can just say, "Oh, well, we're paying homage to the first Swiss Metal game, The Lost Endings." Like they can get away with it if they wanted to.
Yeah,
it's just all pixelated.
Yeah,
it's PS1 graphics.
So to kind of finish off the episode, because man, episode 7 a lot happens.
It did.
We found out when they get back to when Stu and Sweet Tooth get back to Blackfield Asylum. Sweet Tooth goes to see his some unfinished business, and he sees that his dead parents are still there because he tracked them down and everything went to shit and put him in the cell. And Sweet Tooth is just kind of going through a monologue, just screaming at them, saying, "You never visited me. You wanted me to be a child actor all because you can just buy a fucking Lexus," which I started laughing because I was laughing out loud, not because of the joke, but because it was like I'm trying to buy a Lexus, so I'm like, oh god damn it. So I'm like, oh fuck, sorry, Sweet Tooth. And Stu gets kind of creeped out from Sweet Tooth, and was able to kind of convince Sweet Tooth to save Mike again. After Mike kind of gunned everybody down. And so I can't remember, was it Sweet Tooth called him like, "Oh, you want a pet? Then you gotta take care of him." and so Sweet Tooth lets Stu take Mike as a dog or a pet or whatever, as long as he's able to make him behave. But that's episode 7 for you.
Yeah, and probably
Yeah,
my
that's
favorite in
probably
the
my favorite.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
so that 7's fucking awesome.
Yeah, 7 and 10, I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do
10
feel like
10
the
is
series, as it went on, I thought the episodes got better and better and better. And maybe it's because I connected to the characters more and was more invested in their journey. But I felt like the last half of the series was just, one banger after another.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Yeah. So that leads us to episode 8. I kind of put as like kind of okay, because we find out that John's car is stolen by the Holy Men, and you get kind of pissed off with Quiet about it. And there's a little bit of backstory about John and Evelyn. We find out that the Subaru Impreza that John finds, it was his kind of like refuge after losing his previous car, and dealing for Walk and Storm, and he's able to find this orange car that he bonds with and ultimately saves him from a group of cannibals. And he kind of makes this promise where I'm going to take care of this car, for the rest of my life. I'm there for you, you're there for me. And so, there's a little bit of that backstory. And then we kind of cut to learning or finding out who the preacher is. So the preacher, he's just one coked up motherfucker. They're him and his cult. They're just, what the fuck? It was so weird. It was like
like a dominatrix kink.
Yeah,
yeah.
dominatrix type shit where they're all wearing masks, and they submit to like these women, and it's like, oh, you're gonna do this, and you're like, no, I'm not gonna do it, and they just get like fucking whipped. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Hey, don't kink shame.
Yeah, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of took away from like how menacing we've kind of learned the Holy Men to be, but
yeah.
It turned it into like a coked up biker gang, and
literally
like really bizarre things. Like he's gonna have sex with Evelyn, the car.
Okay, that actually made me laugh though.
I like that.
Muffler, come on, man.
He's so
I'm gonna dick her down.
like you see like John just so fucking disturbed. He's like, no, you better fucking not.
That's my woman.
Better not assault my car.
I do like that Jebediah, the preacher, he kind of had the reference to his story in Black, where he just murdered a church full of people, because he thought he was performing a baptism or whatever, or an exorcism. So I like that was a neat little reference there, and I believe that because of that happens, like his whole belief system, his whole connection to God was broken. So that's why he formed this hedonistic like sex dominatrix cult.
Yeah,
was because of I don't know. I thought it was kind of a neat idea. Like it fit the goofy vibe they're going for, but also was just the right vibe for the show, I thought.
Yeah, and coming off of that, I mean, like, there was a part of me that really wished they would have kept the preacher from Black, where it's this older, crazy guy, he legitimately thinks there's a demon inside of him causing him to do these horrible things, and he finds out at the end that he's just insane. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, they couldn't do that because it just would be way too dark for what the show's going for.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's a dark comedy and there's some dark elements for sure. But if they had this one character that's just obviously super dark and sinister and depressing and everything, right, it would stick out like a sore thumb. And if you're not a fan of the games, it would turn you off immediately from the show.
And
right. The religious stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other thing. It's like they don't want to include
they don't want to portray religion as a bad thing and whatever and offend people. And I get that too. And so like you said, Drew, I'm glad they at least referenced that a little bit, to have like, hey, here's an Easter egg for the fans, And then but I will say, even though I'm not a huge fan of what they went with this preacher, I did love his performance. I think the guy just knocked it out of the park. I think he had a lot of fun with it.
Off his fucking chain.
Yeah.
He's just fucking everywhere, dude. Like just everywhere, just kick like he's just kicking John's ass so bad.
I was-
John is just getting wrecked because Preacher wants to dick down that car so bad.
I like that the two options for Preacher was make him this like bleak, dark, like broken man, or the guy that wants to fuck a car. There's no in between.
There's no in between.
Gray area. It's those two things.
I'm honestly
coked
only
up.
sad that Evelyn died because the Preacher never got to dick her down.
Evelyn.
He didn't die though. He is back.
That's true. Yeah, he didn't die.
Yeah. Only Evelyn died.
Evelyn died.
Yeah,
Evelyn was the only one who could take out Preacher. She was the only one strong enough to do it.
Yeah, and she failed.
Take him down.
Yeah.
It was either that or John dies. Like,
Oh, true.
and also the Preacher was a capoeira master. I've never seen anybody able to do flips and kicks like that in my life.
Yeah.
It's cocaine, man. That's what it does to you.
It gives you fighting skills. It gives you 50 years of martial arts training.
It's a powdered black belt. Yeah.
It's a powdered black belt. That's great.
Yeah. That scene of John just getting his ass kicked was just fucking funny.
Mhm.
I like how Quiet kind of becomes a dominatrix herself to get what she wants, and she beats that one dude down.
Yeah, that was
honestly,
a fun scene.
That was a
honestly,
fun one.
after all that dominatrix shit, I just wrote down a note where I just called Preacher and his men a bunch of fucking simps.
I mean, in a way.
Yeah, I
what
was
it
like, this is so weird.
At first they were simping for God. Now they're simping for I don't know, lady boots.
Muffler, Coke, Cruise, and freaking Jesus. But so yeah, that's pretty much it with that episode. That's all I got. Unless anybody wants to add more.
No, I think you covered it all. We lost Evelyn, the thing that John loved the most in this world, that he made clear he would not give up for anyone, not even Quiet.
Yeah,
he has to let go just as much as Quiet does.
I will say
Yeah.
the music choice was perfect. Evanescence.
Yeah.
I think that was it was such a like it's one of those things where the song itself is horribly depressing. Like I get sad every time I hear it because it's so beautiful, but it was so well done in the sense of like it's obviously kind of a comedic moment too, where he's like so depressed over this vehicle, and it's just like it's both sad and it's funny at the same time. I didn't know how to feel, and I think that was great. And then, but the one thing I do think was a little overboard was Quiet's reaction, at least in my opinion. I felt like obviously she thought he died in the explosion, and that's like super sad, and that makes sense. But I didn't understand the whole reason of like it's either me or the car kind of thing.
yeah.
I felt like that was a little weird. I'm like, you should understand though, like he's been with this car like forever, and if they don't have a car, they can't get out of here except, well, I guess they could, but the one they were stealing didn't have guns or anything with it, so it's just I don't know. I kind of was like, you should kind of understand like why he wants the car a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it felt a bit manufactured, like the tension between John and Quiet at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it always resolves itself. Like there's this dynamic where it's like, I'm really mad at you. Okay, no, actually, I still love you. And then they move on like nothing happened. I felt like that was another example of that.
Yeah, it's definitely establishing that they're becoming a couple.
Yeah. And again, if they didn't rush it to them like having sex in the ball pit in episode 6, I would have believed their relationship being real by like episode 9.
Definitely.
Good point.
Same. Yeah.
And well, the death of Evelyn also opened up the opportunity for a new and more interesting vehicle, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very true statement.
Yeah. So
Which moves us along to Roadkill, episode 9, right?
Episode 9, yeah.
yeah. So I can't remember why I put this one, but I put Bad Doggy.
What?
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 I don't know. That was like the
It's
first
bad.
one.
That's what's Mike's called, right? That's what Sweet Tooth calls Mike.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Sweet Tooth sprays
Naughty Dog reference.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was it? He sprays Mike with we find out to be fucking pissed.
Yeah, he goes and pisses in the bottle.
He's like Bad Dog, and he just sprays Mike with the fucking pissed. And so he's like, "Fuck, I ran out. I'm gonna go get some more." And then he's like, hey, I need some water.
I love how we're watching that in the stream, and everybody's like, "That looks like piss." And Sweet
Because
Tooth
it
completes that
is.
joke by walking off, saying he has to refill it into his piss.
Yeah.
This is so gross.
Yeah, I thought that was I'm like, what the fuck? But you can see Mike is kind of concerned because he's like, yeah, like listen, man, this guy's fucked up. So there's some hints of that.
Yep.
This is definitely a little bit of the shorter episode since it's only like 20 minutes, so
Mhm.
kind of speed run this one. But Harold and the lighter fluid. Yeah, so what was it? Sweet Tooth pours some lighter fluid or gasoline or whatever on top of his head,
Yep.
kind of alluding to what's gonna happen in a future scene. And I got so fucking pumped when I saw that. We see more Flower Power and Twister. They're kind of kind of trying to help. I think Twister mostly trying to help John and Quiet kind of make amends.
Yeah.
And Twister's kind of saying, "Hey, John, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna need a better car because of what's going on with Sweet Tooth and Outlaw." And so, thankfully, we see the better car. It finally gets its name. It's called Roadkill, in which it really reminds me a lot of I think I don't know which Twisted Metal game, but I think Twisted Metal either
Looks almost like 2, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, TM2's Roadkill.
Mm-hmm.
Is it TM2? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool, and it kind of acknowledged one of my gripes with Evelyn was that Evelyn takes so many hits, but like it's such a it's not really that armored all that much. It doesn't seem like, but like seeing like
Yeah.
this new car that John had was so much more believable. So,
Yeah.
so much more badass. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's armor. It's a fucking muscle car. It's gonna kick ass.
And like, and with Evelyn, Drew might know this answer. Was Evelyn like kind of modeled after Death Warrant in 2012?
No, not my understanding of it. Because Evelyn was a Subaru Impreza, like a 4-door, off-road
Yeah.
rally car sort of situation. I think Death Warrant was based more on like a muscle car, like a more modern Mustang.
Oh,
sort
okay.
of
So just the
design. So
paint
I don't
job
think
was
it
kind of
was.
the same.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Evelyn is a brand new car as far as I know for this series, which Japanese cars in general aren't represented very well in Twisted Metal, so it was kind of cool to see
Yeah.
one there. But I do want to go over how Roadkill even came to be found. Like, wasn't it? It was Quiet had broke down the car she stole from the Holy Men.
Yep.
She's driving away, and it breaks down. And so while she's sitting there waiting for something to happen, one of the vultures, like the roving band of raiders that pervade this entire apocalypse, rolls up to her, and like she just freaks out on the guy, and they have having like a nice conversation, nice moment. Turns out he's just like a regular dude.
Mm-hmm.
But because that interaction, they end up stealing his car. Like he threatens to kill her at the end, and then that's when the convoy rolls up on them, and they save her, and then they steal that vulture's car. Is that
That is
accurate?
correct.
Yeah,
Yep. That's exactly.
Actually watching it right now, the scene.
He's just
Head
watching
in
it while
arrow.
we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I am amazed how a semi truck can sneak up on somebody, but
That's
Yeah.
what I was wondering. I was like,
Why
dude, how
would
they
you
not
have
hear that
twice?
shit coming from a mile away?
Yeah.
I mean,
She
it's
shoots him in the
happened
head
to
with a
me in
crossbow.
my games.
It's an electric semi.
It's EV.
I wish
Which,
the one thing I do wish we would have got more out of the show is more of the convoy, because that shit was sweet. Like I wish
Such
there
a
was.
cool idea.
Yeah, it's a sick idea. Like think about like that being a level in a Twist Metal game. Like if they have 1 million of these semis connected to each other while driving on a freeway, and like you can just drive between them.
I know people would probably hate hearing this, like ideas for Twisted Metal the game, but if it were like an open world, I like the idea of like the headquarters, like the home base of the player to like go to the shops
convoy.
or change a character and stuff would be that rolling convoy. It's something that moves around the map like continuously. I think that would be a really cool gameplay mechanic
Yeah, that'd
on
be
top
sweet.
of just being a cool idea in general.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wish we got more time inside that convoy. I want to know like how that society functions. I feel like there's a lot of rich soil there to plant seeds of story in.
Right.
Do you guys think that was a Dark Side reference or a Juggernaut reference?
I think more Juggernaut, honestly.
Juggernaut.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking too, because the cars come out of the Juggernaut, not Dark Side.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get either driver of Darkseid? I guess we got Dollface.
At the
I guess
very
spoilers at the
end. Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't get Mr. Ash at
Nope.
all.
They need to bring Mr. Ash, man. I want to see him in live action.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I want to see Black in live action.
Oh my god.
This was Metal 1 Black.
Oh no,
The
that thing,
ponytails.
oh my god.
My God.
But anyway, sorry to cut you off, Winners.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, really, this episode, honestly, episode 9 really feels a build up to like episode 10, where it's like everybody's getting ready, and kind of having this final showdown. And I was really hyped for that next episode once Sweet Tooth's head was lit on fire. I'm like, yes, like this is gonna be fucking awesome. Like that scene hyped me up so hard for the next episode. Which season 1 episode 10, car combat. We finally got what we wanted. It's like the episode of that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob thinks he's gonna be a movie star, and he starts making burgers, and he's like, "That's what you wanted?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what we've been waiting for." And so I was like, "Yeah, finally!" Like fucking 10 episodes later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just nothing but pure car combat for like that first like 10-15 minutes. Like Sweet Tooth is like, for me, like what stood out to me the most was like Sweet Tooth when he launched the missiles out of like the head.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it was
it, like
amazing.
all
You hear
those
the
ghost
laughing.
missiles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that was like probably the coolest part, and like him shooting his machine. It's not even a machine. It's like it's a fucking minigun just blasting away. Like you just hear the sound. I'm like, oh my god, like my god. And Sweet Tooth sees John and Quiet, and they're like, oh, you look different. He's like, yeah, I'm trying out a new look, and it's just he's just pointing at his like
Currently
head.
on fire.
Yeah, he's fucking on fire. He's just being nonchalant about it, and he's like, "Oh, I always do you two would be together or make amends or whatever." Like, it's like Sweet Tooth being super fucking supportive of people's new relationship. Again, Outlaw. I really love Outlaw's car, like the Twisted Metal Black design that they kind of took on. Really fucking cool. That's what I put. Roberts, I think they're both dead because they were in shadow. They got blasted to smithereens. And we see Juggernaut in action, which I thought was pretty cool. We almost lost Flower Power, but thankfully she survived, although her passenger didn't. Which unfortunately, Sweet Tooth just blew up Juggernaut. Just no tomorrow. Like just like those. Do we want to call it like ghost missiles or something like that? Because like they were everywhere.
I think it's just
Like,
his special weapon, right? That'd be like,
Yeah, I thought his special hit it.
Yeah, it was just so it was the special that hit it. He just blew it up. Oh, and then
Who was that person that died in Juggernaut? Because it's the person that gave
it was
Quiet her
the
robot
prosthetic
finger.
girl. She had like a big prosthetic arm.
Did we even learn who she was or
No.
what her name was?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it was Wrench Guy.
It was Wrench Guy.
from Twisted Metal Black
Yeah.
Oh
Online.
my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
deep cut, love it.
The mechanic
Jesus.
who fixes everything.
Yeah. And so
Guy.
yeah, so Mike and Stu, I guess they were put in the position where it's either them or Sweet Tooth, and I really like that they shot Sweet Tooth in the eye and they got out of there, which was a good reference because Sweet Tooth only has one eye that we see in other Twist. I think mostly just Twisted Metal Black.
In
Yeah,
2012.
Black in 2012.
And 2012, yeah, 2012, where he loses his eye. And I just like how he just jumps off his truck. He's like, "Harold, take the wheel," and he just jumps in Outlaw's like car, and just beats the living shit out of it. He's like, "You took everything away from me.
You're getting eye blood on me."
But it's so fucking ridiculous how strong like Sweet Tooth is, and he's just breaking the fucking front windshield. Like this guy is like massively powerful.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't give a shit.
I
thought that was
watched a
pretty
behind
cool.
the scenes interview with Samoa Joe and I think Thomas Hayden Church, where when they were filming that scene, I don't think they told Thomas Hayden Church that Samoa Joe was going to jump onto the windshield the way that he did. So I think the reaction we saw in the show was probably genuine. Like, what the fuck? What's going on?
What the fuck?
That was such a cool fucking scene. In my eyes, I thought like dude, this is like car combat. Sweet Tooth's head's on fire. He's jumping. He's fucking just beating the shit out of a fucking car like it's goddamn Halo. Let's just like try to hijack the fucking Outlaw. Like just take him out.
My only question is like, well, how did Flower Power live? Because did she get shot right in the throat?
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah,
she got shot in the neck.
Or maybe she got grazed.
No, the
Maybe,
lady
yeah.
who was driving bandaged her neck.
Oh,
Which
Yeah.
like if you like what do you call it when you like tourniquet. Like they turn if you tourniquet your neck, you're being strangled at that point.
Right.
You
and
just
like
bandage a
you'd
bullet wound,
be
you have to
gargling on your blood. Like you wouldn't be able to breathe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
very
generally a
bizarre.
wound you cannot bandage, but they did in this. So we can assume that they missed the jugular, like barely
Oh,
or
okay.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see her later on, like making a full sprint, like away from the burning wreckage of Juggernaut somehow.
Yeah. And talking about flower power, I should have talked about this earlier in like episode 3 or whenever we first meet her, but I really did like her portrayal. I think the actress did really good. I also thought like
she's
at
amazing.
first she was horrifying. Like with the
Oh, yeah.
getting them stuck and like frozen in place with the poison flowers. And I was like, Jesus, she has like no sympathy or like empathy for anybody. She's just like, I'll kill whatever I have to. And I thought that was really cool. And then yeah, so I thought she was a really good actress. I thought she was a good pick for that role.
Yeah, definitely. Because like you can tell she's capable and dangerous, but she has like this appearance of being this harmless, this sweet lady.
Yeah.
I like the juxtaposition. Like she will destroy you with flowers.
Right.
She'll be nice to you doing it.
With flowers.
Flowers.
How did you guys feel about the scene with Twister, like the CGI missile chasing?
I feel like it's the best they could have done. So
Yeah.
A for effort.
Yeah.
A
I thought
for
it honestly
effort.
didn't look that bad.
It was okay.
Not really. You need to really look to see at some of the things with how you should to look really find the mistakes. You need to actually look. Most people wouldn't notice it right away.
It's what I noticed for sure that bothered me was just how unnatural it felt in terms of like how the car is driving.
Yeah.
Where it just it's so off-putting, and how kind of low quality the CGI is a little bit. But again, it's like fuck. This is a Twisted Metal show. This is the best we're gonna get. I'm not gonna. There's other shit that would put me off in a show, but this isn't it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not have liked it more if it was more convincing CGI. Like I liked it as much as I possibly could because the idea was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that she was going super quick. It was on a racetrack, which was cool.
Midtown Raceway.
Yeah. That was
Reference
pretty
to
cool.
Twisted Metal Black.
Shh, God damn it.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
And then what was the other thing? It was kind of funny how like the missile actually touched the back of her car. And then she's like, "Oh, no, you're a little too close," and then used boosts or whatever. It's like, shouldn't it have blown up when it touched her?
I don't know if I like it. Like all the quips, they all have like walkie talkies that are connected to each other for some reason, so they can all like talk and communicate.
Yeah.
I guess you want that, during a battle, you want to have the characters interacting in some way besides just driving, but it felt a little like quippy and dumb sometimes. Like, come on, you don't need to like make a comment about every little thing that happens.
Yeah, it was just a team TD or TDM, right? Team deathmatch. That's all it was.
Yeah, you're right.
If you ask Squeetooth, it's a free for all.
Yeah, it was a TDM, and then he's a free for all like wild card. He's a team killer.
Yeah,
he was kind of on John Doe's side. Like, it was kind of an ally to some extent until it was no longer an ally at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stu is like, "Oh no, they're on our team. What are you doing?" "Oh, there are no teams, Stu." Stubert.
Stubert. It was great. Yeah, back to Nick's point. The missile, I mean, it has to have a certain amount of pressure, otherwise you couldn't handle one. Like if it just tapped it, and then it was basically a whole thing to show how fast she was. That she could literally outrun missiles.
Yeah.
It's good that she was on that racetrack because that car could never go those speeds on a normal road without completely wiping out.
Right.
But I thought it was a pretty neat scene how she turned the missile back on them. It demonstrated her speed and had some interesting combat moments in there.
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure. We just need the tornado next season.
I hope so. I want to see a fucking tornado, bro. Like I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah.
Calypso's just next season's gonna grant everybody their actual specials.
That's what I'm thinking. Honestly, I do think they're gonna do something like that, where Calypso will be like, whoever is in this contest, don't worry about the vehicle. Like I will provide all the vehicles for you, and the vehicles will have their special weapons for each one.
That'd be kind of cool.
We saw in Twisted Metal Black where Calypso took all of their personal cars and then modified them to be ready for the tournament. So I think that would be probably the case because obviously John and Quiet has Roadkill, So I don't want to see them in a different car. We've already established that's their car. Sweet Tooth has the ice cream truck and Twister has a Twister. So I would like them to be in their cars, but Calypso makes them ready with, freeze attacks and special weapons and all that.
I have
He
a
makes
feeling they're
them
gonna
over the
put
top.
John and Quiet against each other.
I feel like that's what they're
Probably.
setting up for.
So I don't know. I mean, I wonder what car she's gonna drive.
Well, Quiet's in Roadkill.
No,
Unless she loses Roadkill somehow.
no. If she's going against John, they'd be in different vehicles.
Right. Well, but she's driving Roadkill at the end of the show. So she
Oh,
has possession of that car. I don't know what John would drive, unless he somehow gets it back from her.
maybe. Or he gets Evelyn again. Evelyn 2.0.
Yeah. Or maybe Calypso's like, oh, I'll give you whatever you want. Here's Evelyn back.
Yeah, that could be.
It's
I
Evelyn
wouldn't mind
strapped.
seeing
His
that
own
again.
car.
It's just gonna be Evelyn strapped to the top of some tank treads.
Oh, that'd be a great red. Like I pulled like the like burnt out husk of Evelyn. And here's a
Right.
tank. Yeah, that would be a cool reference.
For sure. So I guess we could just go around real quick because I think that was everything in episode 10, right? Winners?
No,
That
that
was
wasn't
Aside from
it.
the tournament.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
we,
they had a tournament at
we
the
just
end, yeah.
scratched half of it. Yeah, so John and Quiet pretty much. I wouldn't say they take down Outlaw. I don't think they necessarily killed him.
Yeah.
Because
They use
John,
the hood as a ramp to.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was
they used
cool.
The
Yeah.
hood as a ramp. That was pretty damn cool. I thought that was nice. And so they kind of drive away all happy feely, and we find out that John can only bring himself into New San Fran and not Quiet, and so Quiet shot John and forced him to go into New San Fran. And so she drives away with Roadkill. She doesn't want to be a milkman, and in fact, she robs milkmen for a living. And John is adjusting to his new life, but he kind of finds out that it's not for him, which understandably so, because I'm wondering if he senses that this is all just a farce, this is all bullshit, which it kind of is, because Raven is trying to make John happy, and he tries to leave. And basically, Raven's like, no, the fuck you aren't. There's a tournament next year, and you're in.
Yep.
Or there's a tournament coming up or whatnot, and this is probably for any Twisted Metal fan, this is probably like the best like last 5-10 minutes where Raven is saying like all the best drivers are going to be competing, and you're going to be able to get one wish of whatever you desire by a man named Calypso. Which I was like, oh, dude, like this is gonna be fucking awesome for season 2. Like it made season 1 feel like a prologue to what's gonna happen, like for realsies.
And I'm glad they went that way too, because I heard there was arguments of people saying, why didn't they just do the tournament from the beginning? That's what we wanted. And it's like, I mean, me and Con have talked about this, where it's just like, if they did that right off the bat, then we wouldn't have any character development, and we wouldn't give a shit who lives and dies. Because at least we have a lot of characters now who we can root for and actually care about if they end up dying in season 2.
Yeah, like I think season 1 really sets up the universe to where in season 2 you have all these characters that we've already been introduced to before, that we know who they are, we know a little bit of each of their backgrounds, some more than others. I think the preacher, I wish we got to know him a little bit more, but we just know he's fucking crazy.
But he'll be back, so we might be able to explore him some more.
Yeah, he'll be back. And we find out through Raven that she has these pictures of John and these and his family, and these memories are coming back. And basically kind of leading to how John got to where he was before his amnesia kicked in from the accident, because his dad told him to drive, just drive, just get out of here.
Yeah.
And which probably leads to the biggest twist of all, which is we find out that John's sister is Dollface.
Yep.
Which was really fucking cool. And just kind of to sum it all up, the one thing I liked about Raven is she kind of finishes off everything she's saying that that this tournament it's just gonna leave nothing but a flaming pile of Twisted Metal. I'm like, yeah, they
She said the
you said the same with the
thing.
show.
she said the
the
thing.
thing.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, like I would be so surprised if they don't do a season 2. Like I think they've set themselves up so perfectly for a season 2.
Yeah.
Oh, they
absolutely.
definitely
Yeah.
did.
I mean,
I
they
mean, the
got
whole
Axel, man. They gotta have season 2
Oh my
now.
god, Axel.
Axel, Grim.
Um,
And we saw
Oh,
Bloody Mary and the Preacher back.
Yeah.
The Mr. Grimm helmet's the same from 2012, except it's
Was
black
it?
instead of
The
red.
motorcycle helmet
Yeah,
with the red
I
paint,
noticed
yeah.
that when I played 2012. It's the same helmet. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool.
Except the colors are reversed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're not even sure Agent Stone is gone. Like they did that off screen so that they could bring him
yeah,
back.
they
if
they
necessary.
purposely made every death almost off screen so that you wouldn't, so
Right.
they could technically come back.
Yeah, they're
And
keeping
Sweet
their
Tooth,
options
you don't see
open.
him die, you just see the mask on the ground. Stone, you just hear a gunshot, you don't actually see
Yep.
his dead
Yeah,
body.
He could have shot
Pizza
that in the
Boy.
air. You could have shot it at them as they were driving off. It could have been anything.
It's like Stone missed and shot the right side of his face. So when he comes back, he has 2 giant scars like Joker.
Oh my god. Or like he turns into Orbital somehow, just falls into a fire.
Half of the face gone. Yeah, 2-Face. Oh,
So-
God.
Because when he puts the gun to his head, you don't actually see him like
Right.
put it on his head. He's like slowly moving it towards it. So yeah, he's definitely coming back in my book.
Yeah, and I hope so.
It's almost
I
kind of
like him.
annoying, like how people just did not die in the show, like when they absolutely should have. Like, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
like
close calls
like
and
John
nothing
Doe
really
and Preacher when
happens.
they exploded next to Evelyn. They should have
Yeah,
died.
no, that dude's dead. He is liquefied.
Yeah, that's definitely and I think it cut the reason they're letting that slide or like saying it's cartoon physics or whatever. I honestly think the reason is because there is supernatural elements, but they just
Right.
haven't except for Sweet Tooth's head being on fire and he's not dying. There really wasn't anything specifically in the show that was like quote unquote extremely supernatural, unless you
No.
really look at it and nitpick it. You're like, okay, wait, well, you could explain this away because there's supernatural elements. And I think that's what they're going for.
Right.
Like, even the apocalypse that befell this great nation in the show, we don't have any explanation for that. That could have been
Yeah,
supernatural. Like maybe Calypso forced this apocalypse to happen.
I think it
Just
was a
to set in
Y2K
motion.
reference, right?
It was 2002 in the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
so maybe.
the fact that the ATMs are spitting out money was definitely a Y2K reference.
Yeah, and then he looks
They're-
up, and I thought it was meteors in my first watch that were falling, and it was actually just aircrafts. It was like airplanes that were crashing down.
Oh, I didn't
Right.
see that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought it
when
was
you saw
meteors, and I
the
was like, "What the
sky.
fuck is that?" Like
Yeah.
the
That's
sky
where
falling.
missiles.
But yeah, but it was just aircrafts that were like Y2K they're getting controlled by some unforeseen nature and just crashing to the ground.
Right.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
it's so going back to like Raven, and she reveals that John Doe actually his family lived inside the walled city.
Mhm.
So she sends John on this quest to go to Calypso in order to earn a right to live back in the city and get his old house back. Does that kind of recap it to what she's offering?
Well,
I
no,
thought
I think that
they
like the
went
whole
before-
reason she made him go on this quest is because it's a death run. Like she knew he'd either die, or if he survived, this is the guy that I'm going to put in the contest because I want to get my wish. Because I
Yeah.
think she's going to use John in the next season if it happens to be in the contest to get a one wish if he was to win, and she's going to pop up out of nowhere at the end and be like, if he makes it, let's say. To get the wish, she's gonna pop up and be like, "Yeah, by the way, I own you, and I own that wish," kind of thing. I think that's like her plan.
Do you think they set it up in a way that every competitor in the tournament is being handled by someone else? Like Raven, her champion is John, and maybe Quiet gets put in there by someone else. Axel is being put up by someone because in Twist Metal Head On, Axel is kind of in that same situation.
Yeah,
Is that doctor or whatever puts him in the tournament to get the wish?
Interesting.
Black in Twisted Metal Black, Driver of Manslaughter, kind of the same thing. Like he was, put in this tournament to get close to Calypso.
Yeah,
So we've seen a lot of examples of people who are, sent to the tournament not for their own wishes, but on behalf of
Krista,
someone else.
Krista
Yeah.
from Grasshopper and TM2.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I
So
don't know.
is everyone going to be that way, or is it just Raven choosing John, and everyone else is going to be for their own gain?
I think it'll be a mix of both.
Yeah, I would find it hard that Preacher and Sweet Tooth would have somebody handling them.
Right.
Yeah.
And Pizza Boy, he's a man on his own.
So I just compiled a list of all the potential drivers for next year's competition.
Yeah.
I think I settled on 13. So we know for a fact that Twister, Preacher, Axel, Bloody Mary, Grim, and John Doe, and Flower Power are going to be part of the competition. So that's
Yep.
7 right there. 2 of
So
them.
is that Flower Power and Amanda Watts separately? Would
Yes.
they be a duo?
Their pictures
So-
are.
Yeah, so you see Flower Power's picture when Calypso's putting Mr. Grimm's picture
Yeah.
right above.
So they're gonna go against each other. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I added another 6 that are potentially going to be on the competition, which is going to be Sweet Tooth, Pit Viper, Quiet, Dollface, Slam, and Drag Queen.
Pizza Boy.
Pizza Boy.
Don't forget about Pizza Boy.
Pizza Boy.
It's a boy.
So I put those as people that we know that survived.
Yeah.
But again, there's not enough information to make a confident statement that they're going to be in the competition.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do another season, Sweet Tooth's definitely going to be one of those people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, it's definitely a solid roster for potential contestants, which I think is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
And they'll definitely introduce more drivers as well. I don't think I can roll with the same people we saw in season 1 by itself. I think they need to,
Yeah.
Well,
bring in more people.
My hope is that they're bringing in new people, and I'm hoping that they expand more on those that we've already seen, but they just didn't go in depth, like Pit
Yeah.
Viper, for example.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
So I
only
feel
so
like-
much they can fit into a season. Like they can only do
Right.
so much character development.
I want to
Oh,
see
yeah,
how
pacing
Pizza
was
Boy
already-
became the Pizza Boy.
Right.
If I don't see fucking metal discs shooting at somebody, I'm
That'd
gonna
be
have a
so
hard time.
cool. Like, just
That would be
imagine
fucking cool.
he gets in his car that he gets given from Calypso, and he doesn't know what it does, and he's
It's
just
like a perfect scene.
yeah, he just clicks a button and it shoots fucking pizza blades out and it kills somebody in front of him.
Yeah, he could say like, "Here's your fucking order, bitch," and just shoots a fucking metal pizza at somebody that would fit to the show so easily.
That'd be
And
so
I
cool.
just want him to have a single voice line. That's all I want from him. Like pizza blades are a bonus, but I just want him to speak.
Yeah,
I want to hear their rendition of him.
yeah, for sure. Like he had like a background line. You could hear him talking in the bar, but yeah, he didn't have like an official like line on camera.
Yeah,
But
he's
I
like,
want him to recite verbatim his TM4 like character bio.
It would have been funny if John took his jacket and glasses after he beat him up,
Oh my
And then-
god, yes.
and then the pizza boy in the city shows up and he's like, "I don't have any money to give you. Here, take these glasses and jacket as a tip."
You become the new
And-
Pizza Boy.
And new pizza
Ah,
boy is
That'd
born.
be great.
That would have been crazy. And then yeah, there was an after credit scene, which obviously proved that Sweet Tooth's still alive
Right.
because he shows up and he presumably kills Mike. Again, it's off screen. You just see blood, so I think he's alive.
And then he drags
and he
Stu
drags
off into
Stu
the
away.
woods.
And I think
Oh,
Mike lives. I think he's gonna find Stu, and they're gonna be in Hammerhead in season 2. I really do believe that.
I
Oh,
can see that.
Absolutely.
And this was such a nod to slasher flicks like Jason.
Yeah,
It's like
Yes.
Two dudes on the beach or lake wherever they were at,
With the women.
getting ready to hang it, like get it on with the chicks, even though they were mannequins.
Mannequins.
And then the slasher comes out of the woods. Like it was
Yeah.
exactly that vibe.
that was fun. I thought it was pretty good. That was
It
a
was
perfect
fun.
like,
It was a fun moment.
extra
Yeah.
scene. So yeah, I think what should we just go through each of our like out of 10 ratings, I guess, for the whole show?
Hell yeah, 1 through 10. How does everybody rate the show?
I would give it a solid 7.5 to 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say probably like 7.5 or 8. It's definitely not above that, but
Yeah.
No, it's not perfect by any means, but it's what it needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 7 to 7.5.
I would say if you're watching this series for the first time, it could definitely be 6.5 to a 7 out of 10.
Mhm.
But if you're a fan of the games previously and you watch this, it's a solid 8. Like I think it's very enjoyable for people who are already fans of the show.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So many references, so many kind of nods to the games. Like in terms, I felt this way when I finished seeing it, but like in terms of being an adaptation of a video game, being a live show, compared to how many other shows have failed, like I'm still salty that Halo was kind of meh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was awful.
But like they did such a good job for
Yeah,
the budget and for what they were allocated and for the time.
Yeah.
It's definitely not like Last of Us, which that show everybody loved, but in terms of like pure fun, enjoyment, explosion, and just having fun with the characters, it's a really good show that I would always recommend people to watch at least once.
Yeah.
100%.
Just go
Yeah,
in it
and
with
I
an
think
open
just-
mind and be ready to just enjoy, just have fun. Just turn your mind off for, a couple hours, binge watch it if you want, and you'll have a good time with it. If you go into it with a serious mindset and you're expecting
Yeah.
some fucking Grammy work here, or some type of Oscar winning performance, you're not going to get it. But
No.
that's not what they were going for, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, and that's a good lens to look at it through. It had a budget. It had a serious budget.
Yeah.
Not as like a big one, but like a serious cap on that budget during the pandemic. Lots of hiccups,
Mm-hmm.
lots of actors to pay, and a lot of cars to get. So
Yeah.
what they did and what they spent the special effects on, like they did a good job.
Yeah. 100%. All right. So I think that is our overall thoughts and review of the entire series of Twisted Metal on Peacock. It's still available for streaming live now. Definitely go check it out if you can, if you're a fan of the series, so that we can get some more views on it to hopefully get a season 2, because that'd be pretty badass. So yeah, thank you guys
I
so
think
much
if you
for
got
watching.
this far in the podcast, I don't think you would have not seen the show by now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, there's people that just don't care about spoilers. I mean, there's people that, they just want to hear our thoughts on the episodes, and that's cool. But I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen the show, even if we spoiled it for you, I can tell you just seeing it in person it's a whole nother experience.
Absolutely.
For sure. But yeah, that was our first episode of the Twisted Cast. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next week. Have a good one, everybody.
Have a
All
good
right,
night.
sounds good. Thanks for being here, guys.
Have a great night. Thanks for watching.